the popular Chris Sims, Pro Football Talk Live co-host, former NFL quarterback, joining us on the program. Let me start with the Saquon Barkley deal. We like to have a who won and who lost. So can you give a win or a loss in this situation to anybody?
I don't know if you really can, Dan. You're right. I mean, the Giants won. I guess I'm going to say they won. But I also think, like, Saquon Barkley won as well. Like, I sat here in this seat yesterday, doing the show with Florio, doing my podcast a little later, banging the table for going, Saquon, don't do this. One, I'm a Giants fan, but two, I'm a really big Saquon Barkley fan as a player and the person. He's done everything right. The sit out a training camp, sit out a year, wait till next year thing, it never works, right? You lose your craft. You lose your explosive ability that you never get back. So I'm just glad he got in there and he's getting his money. You're never going to get that back. He's got that. And, yeah, the Giants win because he's the most explosive player on their offense, and they got him back on the offense and back on the team here.
Any fallout that could affect other running backs?
Well, I mean, it's messed up, the running back market. This is something I've been talking about really for quite some time.
But how did we get here, Chris? How did we get where they're so devalued that
right? It's a great question. And I think here would be the start of it, in my opinion. One, Mike Shanahan and the zone running system, right? That was the first time we went, whoa, this scheme, they get yards for everybody. Okay, it's 2,000 yards or Terrell Davis, but we can put Johnny, who the hell is this running back, and he gets 1,400 yards.
Wow.
So that, I think, was a start of it, right? Then, you look at the last 20 years. The greatest team we saw in the sport for the last 20 years, they never had a marquee running back. They did there early with Corey Dillon, but then it went, running back by committee through the rest of the Patriots dynasty, right? You look at the Chiefs, they've been to 3 of the last 4 Super Bowls. It's 3 different running backs, in 3 of those Super Bowls. I think some of the high draft picks who have flamed out or bodies have gotten injured, bad contracts, Ezekiel Elliott, Todd Gurley, things like that. I think it all has kind of got us here to that moment. And last but most important, Dan, offensive coordinators have found ways to, manipulate offense despite who the running back is, right? Hey, well, we got more wide receiver screens. We got another wide receiver screen. We got a tight end screen. We got a speed sweep. We got a reverse. We can put Deebo Samuel at tailback for a few plays. So they have found ways to make up for not having Adrian Peterson or some star stud at that position, and I think that's what's led us to where we are right now.
Is there any room on the hype train for the Jets or the Lions?
The Jets, I will say I have less questions about the Jets. The Jets are more about, can they gel together? Can Aaron Rodgers and all the receivers get on the same page? And more about, they're just, it's, I think I said to you in the spring, the AFC East is as good as I've ever seen it. I don't remember ever the AFC East, let alone the AFC in general, right? So I don't know where that's going to put them, but I think the hype should be real about them. There's not really many position groups you can look at their team and go, I'm not sure about that. The Lions, they're the ones I'm a little bit more worried about. One, I know the offense was good, but how good? Right? I know the offensive line's good. I still question Jared Goff to a degree. It's easy to put up a lot of points and yards when you know your defense is just going to let points and yards up all the time, and you're kind of always in a shootout. And then, of course, the defense, got questions about them as well. They were last in football last year. So, the Lions are the team that I worry maybe a little bit more than the Jets about handling the limelight and the all the attention here.
How does it go wrong for the Jets?
I think, get out of the gates poorly, right? Got a tough schedule. I mean, they certainly could be sitting there going, whoa, we're 1-2, we're 1-3. You have that. Rodgers gets dinged up a little bit, right? Then all the naysayers, why did we trade for him and give them all the compensation, and it just all starts to pile on. That's how I would kind of look at it to go south, right? I don't expect it to, but I think that would be one way I would see it happening.
Talking to Chris Sims, Pro Football Talk Live co-host, former NFL quarterback, contributes to Football Night in America. The Packers, I think, are on record saying that They're going to give Jordan Love sort of half the season to figure out what they have. Shouldn't they know what they have with Jordan Love before you're going to say, I got 8 or 9 games?
Yeah, I mean, I think they know to a degree. There's expectations, there's optimism. But, as you know, Dan, right? I mean, you just don't really know until it's the week in, week out grind. Ooh, teams have figured out what we're doing on offense and what Jordan Love likes to throw. What's going to be the next adjustment? Ooh, we had 2 or 3 weeks of not very good offensive play, and everybody in the national media and the Green Bay media is all over Jordan Love. How's he going to handle that?
But how many times, as many camps as you were in, did you look at a quarterback and then it didn't translate into success on the field? Or vice versa, where you go, oh my God, I thought this guy was going to be so great, or I didn't realize he was going to be so great. Can you detect how good a quarterback's going to be by being around him for a couple of years in practice?
You definitely can. You can pick up a lot from that. One, the talent itself, and I think Jordan Love has that talent. I think he's got a lot of the mannerisms and, the personality like we see where he seems to be very even-keeled. They know that too, right? So I think there's – so all of that, yes, you can look at that and go, hey, I think we got something here, right? It's kind of what Atlanta's doing with Desmond Ridder. They don't know, but they're going, wait, we like a lot of the things this guy's made of, so we're going to give it a shot here and see if we can go with it. The Packers situation's a little different, yes, right? But, yeah, I still think it goes back to, okay, right. All right. We like all these things, but now it's getting, tough, and the season's getting tough, and we've gone through some tough times. Is he going to be able to handle it? He's made some bad mistakes the last 2 games. Is he going to come out in game 3 and now be gun shy, or is he going to come out and be able to play his game, or is it going to be totally affected and not be the same? So I think those are the things you got to get answered. I don't think you can really answer them until, you get through the thick and thin of the NFL season a little bit.
Justin Fields has a goal of 4,000 passing yards.
That's a big goal.
Who's he throwing to?
Well, when Darnell Mooney gets back healthy, he can go, right? Chase Claypool has superstar traits.
Yeah.
I think it's the other stuff with Chase Claypool. It's the immaturity off the field and some of that stuff. But, when I tell you an Adonis of Adonises, Dan Patrick, Chase Claypool, one of those guys, if he walked in your studio, you'd be like, holy crap, that's Chase Claypool, right? And he can fly. And then DJ Moore is a superstar. If DJ Moore is not on the Carolina Panthers the last few years, he is, considered one of the top receivers, at least for my money. So I'm excited for that pairing there. They drafted the kid versus Jones last year in the draft. They got Cole Kmet at tight end. So there's some things to work with there. But, yeah, his big question is, can he stand in the pocket and make good throw after good throw consistently with the decisions that go and that are needed to be had? That's the thing we need to see from Justin Fields this year in year 3.
OBJ says that this could be his last year.
I don't buy it.
Is this attention? Did he pick up on what I was laying down to get attention, talking about retirement with my career, and he decided that he was going to one-up me?
Well, I mean, when Dan Patrick speaks, we all try to jump off of Dan Patrick. I mean, you've set the standard for coolness out there, right? So, right? But no, I think OBJ, I know him a little bit through his years here in New York and got a chance to spend some time with him in an interview in Cleveland and the Rams and stuff like that. The passion for the sport is so real and intense that I think what he went through the last year or two, as he said, was, like a huge blow to his soul. This is a guy that, again, he wasn't just here to be, I'm a good receiver and I'm going to make some money in the NFL. This is a guy that, I talked to in year 2 of his career, Nick. He was flat out, I want to be the best receiver in the history of football, and was on that trajectory. So I would say he has a positive year here. They're going to win some games. Baltimore is going to be good. He has good stats. That's going to reinvigorate that love, and he's going to go, wait, what the hell else am I going to do if I don't play football? I can still run 4-3 and be the man out here. So I don't buy it once we get going.
I was talking about defensive backs. Who's a Hall of Famer? Who's a recent retiree Hall of Famer? Who is maybe a Hall of Famer in waiting at the defensive back position?
Okay, that's a good question. You're catching me on the fly here, but all right. So, here's one that I got for you that I don't know if people put that. Aqib Talib would be a DB that I would say he's a Hall of Famer for my money.
Okay.
Aqib Talib, what he did for the Broncos, helping them win a Super Bowl, helped the Patriots win a Super Bowl. Right, I was in Tampa Bay when we drafted him. He was literally, Dan, a day one, first day of training camp, like, holy crap, he's matching up against the number one receiver, and not just like doing okay, like he's dominating practice and got 2 interceptions our first training camp practice. So to me, and he's one of those guys you can just go, hey, you got him all game long. That would be one that just jumps off, my mind right off the bat. Jalen Ramsey, of course, is headed that way, I think. There's probably some other guys I'm missing, too. I'm choking under the pressure. But
Stephon Gilmore?
Gilmore, I think, is going to be, yes. I think he will be in that conversation as well. No doubt about it. Yeah. I think he will be when it's all said and done.
We know that quarterbacks would stay away from Revis, Deion Sanders. Did you have a DB that you purposely stayed away from?
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't play enough. I wasn't good enough to always deal with that. I was in a lot of meetings where they were telling the starting quarterback not to do that, right? And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's right. If I get in there, I'm not throwing at him. Don't worry. but all right, well, I can tell you Champ Bailey in practice and when I was with the Denver Broncos would scare the crap out of me. I mean, he had great intellect. He had great acceleration. He can mess with your mind. So that was always scary. Nnamdi Asomugha in his prime with the Raiders. We were getting ready to play them. Josh McDaniels, the Denver Broncos on that football team. He literally told us on a Tuesday when we had a quarterback meeting, he just said, if Nnamdi's over here, we're throwing over here. We're not doing it. It's not worth it. So that was probably like the biggest one in my day as far as the one I had to face off of that scared me for sure.
Good to talk to you as always, bud. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Be good. Say hi to the guys. See you, Dan.
It's Chris Sims, Pro Football Talk Live, co-host with Mike Florio. You can see that show. It precedes ours on Peacock.